Hello there everyone, my name's Louis. It's my mission to aid your awakening. Now this is one of my most important videos, if not my most important video. I'm going to discuss what awakening actually means. In my view, in the view of others, I'm going to discuss a very broad discussion on what awakening means. Now I've been contemplating this topic a lot recently. I want to deliver a video and I wanted to wait actually for the right time to deliver this video because I didn't want it to be convoluted, I didn't want it to be too simplistic, I didn't want it to be not enough and sufficient enough, because I find it very, very important, this topic, because a lot of people aren't sure whether it's an awakening they're going through, just like I was initially. It led me to have a lot of pain and a lot of unnecessary suffering because I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know if I was breaking down, losing some integral part of myself, going insane, my life crumbling apart, me not ever being the same person again. And I didn't think this had anything to do with the spiritual, or I did think it had to do with the spiritual and had to do with some sort of curse, some sort of demon, some sort of possession, some sort of evil force that was coming out controlling my life and leaving me completely broken, and leaving me with all this darkness that I was discovering about myself. Little did I know that it's a necessary part of healing, not a necessary part, not an unnecessary attack on yourself or an unnecessary curse or whatever it is you could alternatively be thinking if you don't believe you're waking up. I wanted to do something comprehensive. I want to give people a real sense that it's an awakening they're going through. So I'm going to lay it out in this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Got a lot of notes for this one. I don't usually have many notes. I usually go off the riff. Usually go off what I intuitively feel like saying. But I think it's an important video today. So I hope you guys tap in, really focus, and enjoy. Let's get into it. Awakening for me is a fundamental transformation of your perception of reality and the perception of yourself. So when you wake up, some of the most noticeable shifts, some of the most noticeable effects will be in your perception initially. This is something which is very easy to see. Your perception may have shot open overnight or may have gradually be radically altering, in the sense that now your vision is far more sharp, your vision is far more intricate, it's far more intense. You can see so much more. Colors are now more intense. It's almost, if you've had the experience of being on psychedelics, it's like that. It's like an almost psychedelic trip that you've now entered into, and it's very intense at first, but slowly you're shedding the layers of the ego. Instead of having an ego death like you would in a psychedelic experience, or shed the ego quickly and fast for you to enjoy it, it's slowly getting into you and shedding away your egoic layers, shedding away your conditioning, shedding away your unconsciousness, so that you become conscious of that which you've told yourself you didn't want to become conscious of. This is your darkness. This is what's going to be coming up. Initially, like I say, in the early stages, you're going to be having a very hard time. You're going to get attacks of anxiety, bouts of depression, very bizarre and intense depression that comes and goes. You're going to be experiencing a whole bizarre thoughts, and you're going to be experiencing continuous, for months and months, a feeling of deep introspection where you're constantly looking at yourself through the lens of everything. Everything you see is reflecting yourself, and you're getting deeper. You're understanding yourself on a whole new level. You don't want to understand yourself, but you're being forced to look at yourself again and again and again, where you come from, what your past was, who you think you are, what is it that you are. You're ultimately forced, that question is forced upon you time and time again. What is it I am? I thought it was this body, I thought it was this guy, this girl, this woman, this man. But there's something else going on, that I am something else. And what is it? What is it? What is it? I need answers. You'll seek and need answers, and it'll make you look up what you can, find information you never thought you'd be expecting to read, and go down a complete rabbit hole. Sounds scary. It is scary initially, but it is the biggest blessing maybe you'll ever receive. And I see it now as the best thing that could have ever happened to me at the time when I received it and when I had it. and for everyone it's going to be perfect timing. In the end, you're going to look back on it and see, so glad it happened then, so glad it happened in that position for that reason. It's all going to make sense, but for now, starting out, it's still going to make no sense, and it's going to force you to be lost, and from that point of being lost, you slowly find yourself again. So, I've discussed my Kundalini awakening experience in an earlier video. I've discussed that as my most intense spiritual experience, and I've discussed, hinted at other sort of experiences that I've had. I think I share quite a lot, but really, I felt like the awakening started when I was in university. I started dealing with this darkness started coming up. But if you really look back and if you really focus on what the awakening wants to show you, I can trace it back for years before that. I think the roots in my initial awakening, before I even knew what spiritual awakening was and thought it was only something that happens to monks and, people that have been reading religious texts for years and devoting themselves to a certain religion. It was when I had experience with psychedelics at quite a young age. And I remember being 16 in school and just chilling with my friends and stuff. We'd smoke weed or whatever. And I suddenly realised this idea that I wasn't just a kid. I wasn't just a character. And everyone I talked to wasn't just these characters that I associated something with. All these people were the same. Why are we the same? Yeah, we didn't look the same. We didn't relate to each other or sound the same. You could tell each other us apart, but I realised that something awakened in me, and that it wasn't I woke up, this guy right here woke up, this figure, this Louis Stevens woke up. No, it was just a force in me that cracked open a little, that sort of woke up a bit. And when I had my first psychedelic experience, and when I had experience of smoking weed after, and when I got into meditation at 16, again, very young, I wouldn't recommend doing any of that stuff except meditation at that age, unless you're ready. And I started to realise that there's this force inside me which is awakening. There's this thing inside me which everyone has. Everyone has this thing, call it what you like. Back then, I thought of it as like a soul because that's how I'd been taught, from religion or whatever. But there's something in here. I now see it more as consciousness. We all have. And when I look around at people, suddenly I could start to empathise with them more. Before I just saw them, that's that person, that's it, I was still nice, I was who I was raised correctly, so I didn't have any sort of negativity towards the other person. But now I could see them and I could perceive them looking at me as well, because they all come from this point of seeing. And that is a consciousness. Everyone has a consciousness, the point in which they see from. It goes beyond what they look like, what skin colour they have, what religion they have, what background they've had. They all have this point they see from. Now, admittedly, this point in which we see from is pure, is unadulterated, is consciousness, is bliss, is harmonious. Yet, what I realised, and I realised later on, when I was at university, when I was experiencing my darkness, I was looking around the world, seeing how murky and scary it initially was, because it was a reflection of how I was feeling inside, because it was a reflection of me doing deep inner work, and opening up the aspects of myself which I didn't want to become conscious of. They all have this consciousness, and it's filtered by our conditioning. And this is at the crux of what an awakening is. Awakening is you realizing this consciousness, becoming aware of it within yourself, and you slowly trying to remove away. The awakening process is a process of this expanding, this harmonious force, and expanding you from the inside out and the external in. And it's this force that awakens up, and now in order for it to expand, it needs to let go of the constraints, of the limitations, and of the prior conditioning it's had on it. I know I'm pointing at my chest. They say the chest is the solar plexus chakra. This is essentially the engine room of the soul. The soul is carried through the chakras, right? This is the Kundalini concept. Other people have other concepts, whatever resonates with you ultimately. I resonate with the Kundalini concept that we have these chakras, these energy centers. The solar plexus links the positive, the negative, these two, not positive and negative in terms of good and bad, just positive and negative in terms of magnetic connection to the earth, protons and neutrons. We have this solar plexus. This is the engine room of the soul. So when I say this awakening, I usually talk from my solar plexus. But we have the third eye, we have the crown chakra, we have the heart chakra, the throat chakra. There's many, and absolutely the root chakra is fundamental as well. Awakening that up will initiate your fear, but then let you overcome fear and really embrace the world. They're all play fundamental roles. So this shift happened on in me, and when I talked about consciousness to other people in school, age 16, they'd be like, what? You know, they'd be treating me like I was weird. And I felt left out. I felt like a bit of a weird thing, but I couldn't let go of this feeling that I knew I'd glimpsed somewhat of a truth. Now I think my friends are very open-minded. I think a lot of them will accept this as part of us. I know many people that do believe what I say, and many people that experience the same thing I'm talking about, but perceive it in a different way, and that's fine. Because now I think it's becoming way more commonplace. This awakening, you can see, is happening around us. Think about what people would say about topics like this, about channels like this, just 5 years ago. Look at 10 years ago. It's undoubtedly becoming more popular for a reason. It's because there's shifts that are going on. You know, huge shifts that are going on across the world right now. And it's remarkably clear if you look out for it. But it's not going to be worded the same, it's not going to be phrased the same, it's not going to be put in the same words, and it's not going to be as accessible as we want it to be in terms of our avenue, but it's happening in other avenues, and you just have to look beyond the initial surface level of it to see the fundamental truth that we all share. But I talk about this in my What Are We Consciousness video. You can look at that if you want me to discuss more matters like that. But back to what awakening is. So I'm explaining it. It's the expanding of consciousness. You're stripping away your layers. These layers are our conditioning. So we're starting to become more conscious. Consciousness expands, makes us more conscious individuals. What do we become conscious of? I think there's so many things we're becoming conscious of. But if I could categorize it, I'd say the structure of society. How does society work? We are used like engines, we are used like energy batteries to fuel a system. We trade in our time and we receive money, currency, in return. We are like batteries that charges the system. We all go in public transport, we go to the job, we drive or go in public transport. If you look down on the earth, I remember Ralph Smart and Infinite Water saying this, if you look down on the earth from an aeroplane, you'll see that the world looks like a battery grid. Like a microchip on a computer, it looks the same. We are like batteries in a structure of society. Now, how are we fueled? We are fueled through food, we're fueled through money, but look at our food. The earth is in dire straits, the earth is heading towards disaster. We all eat meat from livestock, some don't. I will be vegan soon, guys, please, the vegan viewers. Killing livestock, stripping away the earth, stripping away trees, the lungs of the planet, to make way for livestock. We're being promoted with unhealthy food full of toxins. Going to the supermarket, everything is full of chemicals. High starch fruit, sugar and starch, high fructose corn syrup. All these things make up a standard, what we see in fast food. It's very hard to get healthy food. For coronavirus, instead of boosting our immune system, giving us fruit smoothies and vitamin shots and whatever else we need to boost our immune system naturally, and telling us gym discounts, go to the gym, strengthen your immune system against this virus, which if you have a strong immune system, you will be fine. No, they say, spend money, or at least in Britain, half price off all restaurants, go to McDonald's. Spend money in fast food places. So many people are dying from tobacco, but there's no ban on tobacco. There's going to be a lot you're becoming conscious of. We're being forced news, which is set at the level of fear, and the vibration scale has been tested to set at the level of fear. Intense music, negative stories constantly, death, murder, all these topics. This is what we're fed, and maybe they're making us stay in this level, but I do believe if everyone rises up naturally, in order for their commerce, in order for their success, the news will change also. If everyone resonates at a higher level, higher frequency, we just want to watch comedy all day, we just want to watch positive things, because that's what we find enjoyable, that gives us our hook. Rather than getting hooked to negativity, we get hooked and addicted to positivity. Then I think the market would change. I think newspapers would be more positive, news would be more positive. But at the moment, our baseline is still at a low rate. We need to raise in frequency and make the planet a better place. And that is the purpose of our awakening. Another thing we'll become more conscious of is beyond the matrix, beyond this reality. There are so many worlds out there. There are so many energies out there we're not aware of. There are so millions of colours that our eyes can't even pick up. Have you seen it as well? Have you seen flashes of light? Have you seen auras on people? Have you seen different coloured energies while you're meditating? I certainly have. I went through, when I was waking up, I had periods of seeing green all the time. I believed my heart chakra being healed and opened up. I had periods of seeing yellow everywhere, and every white wall there'd be patches of yellow. These are signs that we're waking up, that we're seeing beyond what the veil, beyond what we're just being shown or being taught, is our reality. There is so much more out there, so much abundance of energies and abundance of all things out there. People are going in contact with spirit guides, have lucid dream where they're fed messages, maybe from passed away ones. This is another layer of reality you're becoming conscious of. Seeing beyond what we're told is reality and seeing the actual reality in all its grandeur. And people can say what the purpose of this is. The purpose of this is that you strip away this conditioning. You make the world lighter by being the light of your own consciousness. This is your force. This is your torch that you go out into the world with. You can let go of the ego. You can let go of your conditioning of who you think you are and embody this light. Be peaceful. Resonate. And vibrate at a higher frequency. Vibrate at a higher level so that you can bring other people up to vibrate at that level also. So we can create a better planet. So we can save the planet in whatever negative direction it's going in. And create another one, a greater world, right here during our lifetimes. It's not enlightenment. I think of enlightenment as like a fully blossomed flower, whereas awakening is just the crackling of the seed. And now you're discovering you're in a pot of all the soils around you. You had no idea. The bubbles burst. You're not this tiny character anymore. There's all this abundance around. There's all the expansion. All these places to go. There's all this dirt which has so much nutrients. All this soil. And this seed is going to awaken. It's going to expand. And you are going to start growing. Moving up in vibration. It's not enlightenment. Enlightenment, if you take care of the seed, if you take care of the plant, you take care of yourself, you move towards the light, then you will blossom and you will achieve enlightenment. But this is only the start. But this is still very exciting. I remember what the Buddhist monk said to me. I said in the story video I did a couple back, you came looking for a puddle, but you found an ocean. We're discovering that we have an ocean around us. And we can move up, head towards the light, break through the soil, and be on the road to enlightenment. And this is happening around the world, and it's an honor for me to make this video for you, whoever you are listening. We are awakening. This is what awakening is, and it's all here for the benefit of humanity. Blessings, blessings, blessings! Goodbye, guys. I hope this made it clear what awakening is. I might do a part 2 for this. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. Much love. Bye-bye.